feelings take control. Let the 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 feelings take control. Mama told me to be loved. Mama told me to be loved. Feelings take control. Let the feelings take control. Let the feelings take control. Let the feelings take control. Let the
Hello. The program will begin in about 3 minutes. Please make your way to find a seat.
삶에 지친 내 모습도 비춰지네. 사람들이 내게 행복하니 물어보네. 힘든 내 맘 들어줄 친구들 생각나네. 말할 수도 없고 아이고 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 넌 가릴 수가 없네 스쳐지는 세상 속에 너 멈추지 않네 나는 또 원한다 오 아이고 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 힘차게 달려나가 상상을 해봐 어린 날처럼 용기를 내봐
Hello, GM. Buenos dias. Guten Tag. Guten Morgen, excuse me.
And
welcome
welcome
to Decipher 2024.
So,
I'm Christine Mohan. I manage ecosystem success, and Matt Keller runs Impact globally for Algorand Foundation.
We are
really excited to MC for you these next couple days. We've got an amazing program for you.
So
basically, we are
it's designed
as a builder's retreat. We were very intentional in how we wanted to structure this conference. We didn't want you sitting in one room, panel after panel after panel. Because we know that builders are the cornerstone, the lifeblood of any protocol. The foundations, the funders, the partners, and especially the community are really scaffolding to help you build, launch, and scale. And so really, we've got a packed 2 days to reflect those messages, those themes. We've got something for everyone. There's a DevRel Cave with workshops. We've got run by you. And we've got mini MBA case studies going and classes. We've got 2 days of API Showcase where you can watch speed rounds of demos from some of our top projects. And if you miss anything, we're recording all of these sessions, and we're live streaming from this stage this morning, so the Algo fam around the world can participate as well. And I think you've probably met a lot of this Algo fam traveling around.
I have, yeah, indeed. And, last time we were here was Decipher in Dubai, 2022. A lot has happened since then. I mean, one fact that sticks in my mind, I was just reading this before I came on. From 2019 to 2023, there were about 1 billion transactions on chain. Between 2023 and now, there are over 2 billion. I mean, think about that. That's incredible growth. And that's all attributable to you. Really extraordinary. And John will talk about that in depth later, all the progress that we've made. And, it's interesting. I have talked to a number of you over the past couple of years and in the last 6 months. And the journey to Web3, the path to Web3 generally, to Algorand specifically, they're all different, but there's also some commonalities there. And we all have our different paths and how we got here. And we're here in community with one another. And it's really interesting, your stories, and each of us have a story as well. So how did you get here?
Oh, long journey.
Yeah.
Long journey. Always tech, always emerging tech. I was at a software startup back in '99 that was acquired by the New York Times company, so I moved from Boston to New York. I needed to meet people, so I started going to tech events. And then as I started getting interested in blockchain, I wanted to learn more, so I started going to more events. In Wall Street, it was basically DeFi, but we didn't call it back then. And I just started forming a network, met some consensus folks, and they became the basis of my network when I moved to Berlin 5 years ago. And then, of course, at an event, I ran into Min Wei, who I'd worked with at the Wall Street Journal years ago, and we started talking about Algorand. And then came to Algorand, I looked around, and I just saw who else? Consensus. So a lot of alums. And so it's like that full circle. So there's Shane, there's John, there's Joe, there's a bunch of consensus folks. Again, as you start going to these events, you start from network. Look around you. This is the core. Who else in this room understands how crazy crypto ups and downs are? So these folks you can really take advantage of in terms of leveraging the relationships. They could become your partners, your funders. So really try to meet as many people as you can in the next couple of days. Would you agree?
I would, indeed. And I got here, I was working with the United Nations World Food Program, and I became really interested in how technology can scale to reach the most people in need. And I met somebody who had started a project called One Laptop Per Child, and it was the first of its kind where could you take computing and distribute it to some of the poorest kids on planet Earth, and could they learn without the aid of a teacher, which led to something called the Global Learning X Prize that I did for 6 years in eastern Tanzania, which tested that very hypothesis. Could children teach themselves how to read using dynamic inferential software? And if you could prove that beyond a reasonable doubt, then could you scale that so that every child on Earth has access to a world-class education in the palm of her hand? And that is what technology means to me. Technology is morally neutral, right? It's what you choose to do with it. And that led me to Algorand when Stacy called me a couple years ago after the X Prize. And I knew some about blockchain. I didn't know a ton, but I got into it. And the further I got into it, the more I realized that this too is a tool that can scale to reach as many people on Earth as humanly possible in many different ways, for the common good, for the common good. And we're here today, right, in community with one another. And this is what this Decipher is all about. It's being together in community, working together, building on Algorand for something that is greater than our own collective self-interest. That's what this is about. And that community, that word, is a very specific word from communis, the Latin, which means a shared public good, right? We're here to share a common good together in community. So in that spirit, as we kind of embark on these 2 days, I know this is a little bit corny, but stand up, shake the hand of the person next to you, shake the hand of the person behind you, shake to the hand of the person, and introduce
Say hello.
yourselves.
Get friendly.
Give each other a hug.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Meet each other. All right. All right.
All right.
All right. And
Stay stand up. Do it before they sit down. Do it.
all right. And ladies and gentlemen, now that you know each other, now that we've introduced what this Decipher is truly all about, would you please welcome the CEO of the Algorand Foundation, Stacey Warden.
You go, girl.
I'm in a very good mood. I'm in a really good mood. I'm so happy to be here at Decipher in Barcelona. It's super hot in Washington, D.C., and I get to be here in this gorgeous weather in this gorgeous town with all you guys. I'm going to tell you a little bit about summer on Algorand. Are you ready? All right. Okay, so our mission, as many of you know, is to get a clicker to work. See how that works? Boom. Boom. There we are. Okay, so a lot of you know this already, but our mission is to power a world where information has integrity and innovative solutions can scale. Now, Google, this is a company that has always tried to model itself after Algorand. Google, of course, has a mission statement of kind of organizing the world's information. Well, that's great and everything, but that information does not have integrity. That's a Web 2 kind of world. And what did Google do with all of that information? They used it and they brought it in-house, and and people that were building on Google, they sort of brought all of that in-house, and they killed kind of entrepreneurial ethos, and they kind of centralized everything. And now in a world of AI, you don't actually know anymore. And blockchain, what's real and what's not. And blockchain is going to be a really important part of that solution. So we do want to imagine a world where, with kind of fake news and questioning everything, that information does have integrity. And if you're going to think about the world's information, all of that information, then you're going to need to have that on a blockchain that can scale. So we think of that as core to our mission, to help ensure that we have a world not built, because we're not building it, you're building it, but we at Algorand are powering that world where information has integrity and where innovative solutions can scale. And you guys, you have been scaling. So let's just talk about how you have been scaling. We have 36 million new wallets. 36 million, think about that, right? That's 3 times since Decipher 2 years ago in Dubai. And I thought we had a lot of wallets then. 840,000 average monthly users. And the last time I gave this talk, it was 800,000 average monthly users. So it just keeps relentlessly getting higher. 2 times the transactions that we had last year in Decipher. 16,000 applications live on mainnet. Give yourselves a round of applause for this. Yeah. 17 times what we did last year on mainnet. DeFi TVL at about 1 billion algo, and that's been holding actually pretty steadily through the ups and the downs. 18,000 governors for this period, whereas I just saw you guys are head of governance. Adris, 1.6 billion algo committed to governance. 41,000 unique NFT buyers of all time, and you guys are a very committed bunch, let's just say, NFT buyers. 45,000 devs engaged in dev programs. 45,000 engaged devs in dev programs. 2.5 times what we did last time. And 84,000 people at our events, 84,000 in total. It's pretty amazing. So you guys have been scaling like crazy. Now, what is the big number that we've all been talking about? And of course, I have to show a video because Mark and Alexa are trying to show off all their new brand wizardry. So I've got a video here to show the big news, which is my ability to play. There we go, 2 billion transactions. Is this incredible or what? 2 billion transactions. And as Matt said, it took much longer to get to the first billion than it takes to get to the second billion, and it's going to take a shorter period even still to get to the next billion, and a shorter period even still after that to get to the billion after that. Okay, what's on my next slide? Does anybody have a guess? Close. You know, we had a big internal discussion. Should we put Algorand Casino or should we put zero? And what does this zero stand for? This is always on a slide. God help us, please. This will always be on our slide. 0 seconds of downtime. 0 seconds of downtime. Not just 0 seconds of downtime, though. 0 seconds to finality, right? How many forks? 0. Big 0. 0 instant finality, 0 seconds of downtime, 0 forks. This is a reliable blockchain, and you guys know it, and that's why you're here, of course. So the foundation has also been doing some things in addition to everything that you've done, and I just want to touch on a couple of things that we're pretty proud of internally that we've accomplished. Number one is we got rid of this very, let's just call it ineffective grants program, and we have turned grant making over to the community. We also, and we put in place this XGovs process to do that. This XGovs process is not perfect, right, Adri? But it is getting better and better, and the beta is getting better and better. And I had the opportunity, actually, to listen to Fisherman Algo. Where are you? He ran an epic, in the back, he ran an epic Twitter space a couple of weeks ago, 4 hours long. Now, I have to admit, I was doing a little house cleaning while I was listening to this, but I don't know, proud is not exactly the right word, but I was so happy listening to this because we have such an engaged, people really care about how we're going to do this properly. And ideas are passed around and, arguing about stuff, and I just we're trying to do this properly. It's your money, and we're turning it over to you, and I was really happy to see the engagement of that, and of course the ongoing engagement all the time. We did not have any transparency to what we were doing. We had kind of unreadable transparency reports. We now have quarterly transparency reports, dedicated wallets. A round of applause to our CFO, Harpal Singh over there. Ask the CFO. Harpal, stand up. Ask the CFO. So CFOs and founders of other protocols do occasionally reach out to him, and they're like, okay, they come into basically two camps. One is like, man, why are you doing that? That's ridiculous. So you don't have to give them all of that information. And the other camp is like, so how did you do that? How do you think about that? How did you do the process? And so we are now known across crypto a little bit for the quality of our transparency and the quality of our transparency reports. We have moved really to a digital-first developer community. We love the in-real-life meetups. We love this event, but we have got to be, we have limited resources, and we are doubling down on developers and doubling down on a digital-first strategy there. And then we used to kind of cover the world, and we wanted to be everywhere at all places, and we made a decision to put a tremendous amount of effort into our India programming instead of kind of a scattershot global. We really want to go big and go strong in one area. Run by Anil Kakani. Please stand up, Anil Kakani, so you can see our head of our India strategy. Okay, and then we, of course, are moving from the governance with voting that was, let's admit it, not really too super substantial, if we're all going to be honest with each other, to really incentivizing consensus. And John will, I think, talk a bit more about that, and we're rolling that out this year. This is, of course, thank you to Algorand Technologies for really pushing this through, so we're very grateful for them for doing that. Okay, so where do we go from here? So what I want to do in the rest of this presentation is give you a sense of our goals, our strategic principles, our strategic priorities, and then we'll have just a couple of announcements to make. Okay, so our goals, so these are our strategic goals for the next 3 years. First of all, we want to cultivate and encourage a sense of religion amongst us. And this is just another word for community, frankly, because I needed an R in my, for my strategic goals. But it's, getting a very enthusiastic community. Adoption, of course, this is a strategic goal for us, right? Prosperity, we need all of you to be successful, happy, making money, big user bases. It is our job to make sure that we do that for you and help you do that. Integration, we need the algo listed everywhere. We need Algorand to be a part of everything. I have a team of 3 people now working all the time just on making sure that we're integrated, and we're going to have a number of interesting announcements about that. Decentralization, I think that's obvious. Awareness, that's marketing. I am so excited to stop getting Twitter DMs that said when marketing, when marketing. And of course, I did think that campaign, I am Algorand CMO. Thank you, Rich Flares, if you're watching live. But we now have a very a substantial marketing budget, a great CMO, and this is going to be our absolute top priority for us. Sustainability, and when I say sustainability, I mean of the core protocol specifically. So we are nowhere if this protocol is not healthy and in good shape forever, so that's very much an important goal for us, and of course we need to have fun. We're sitting around, we're just kind of thinking about how are we going to remember all of these goals, and of course we need a good acronym for it, and we are a very fast blockchain, so our goals are as follows, rapid as F. So that's how you can think about the Algorand Foundation strategic goals going forward. I do love that so much, I have to say. Okay, so here's the thing about strategy. Strategy comes in 2 flavors. One is strategic principles, and the other is strategic priorities. And strategic principles are actually very important because when you have smart, capable people around, if they understand that they're operating within the strategic principles that you lay out, they have a lot more freedom of entrepreneurship, right? So you know kind of what you're always trying to do, and you can figure out how you want to do it yourself. So we have a couple of strategic principles that we use to guide ourselves, and they are very much driven by tech. So we have the luxury of some strategic principles that other blockchains don't have the luxury of having, and that's because we have the best tech in crypto. Absolutely, bar none. Silvio Macaulay, he would rather spend his time at a blackboard. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. He's not on Twitter, but he developed the best technology in crypto, and that's driving everything that we think about in how we organize ourselves. And we have, as I said, the luxury to do that. So number one, because we have the best tech, we're going to win if people know about it. So we are focusing on awareness. This is number one for us. Also, we are removing excuses to use this protocol. Because we have the best tech, we can win if we can remove all of the barriers to using it. So when I first got here, I went on a listening tour, and everybody complained about one thing, and that was the developer environment. Everybody. I mean, the compiler, the debugger, the PyTeal. It's just like a drag. We chose Algorand because we can scale, and this tech can scale with us, but it's just not fun. And so that was the number one thing we focused on. John Woods, MakerX, John Woods. Everybody knows who he is, but also, I want to give a shout out to MakerX. If you guys are in the house, where are you? They may be filming. MakerX, helping us build AlgoKit, absolutely. Alessandro, our head of product, right there. He'll be up on stage later, too. So, this was the number one thing that we had to do, eliminate the excuse for developers. And, there's a few Python developers out there in the world. I don't know if you knew that, but there's a few of them. Next thing is we have to double down on our areas of competitive advantage. We have the best technology, so we should be focusing on those areas that require the best technology. So I love meme coins as much as anybody else, but meme coins don't require instant finality, right? Payments require instant finality. Those are the kinds of things. Reliability. It's okay if your blockchain, not to mention any names, if your blockchain goes down once in a while, in some applications it doesn't matter that much. In real world applications it matters a lot. And so we really are trying to focus on activities. Of course, anybody can build an Algorand. We don't judge, of course, but we are trying to be very prescriptive about what we do and leading with the things that will scale because we can do 10,000 transactions per second. And then we need to deliver a concierge level service to the ecosystem because we have the best developers. So we need to treat them right. Also, frankly, we don't have as much money as some other layer ones, and so we need to give in-kind support, not just lead with the checkbook, but lead with the hug, right? Lead with concierge, and this is concierge level DevRel, led by Brian Whippo. Stand up, Brian Whippo. And concierge level ecosystem success, which is led by Christine Mohan, but you're going to see her all day. I don't know where I can't find her, but oh, there she is. Stand up, Christine. You're there. Okay. So then let me just talk a little bit about, though, our strategic priorities. And we have 10. And the thing about strategic priorities is that you have to kind of force rank them. You know, of course, people can do multiple things at the same time, but you have to put a little bit of a stake in the ground about what you're doing most and what is the most important thing to you and what is less. So this is not an exact science, but I do think it's a bit of a cop-out to just throw stuff up against the wall. So we try very hard, and we had a number of discussions about this, trying to say what is the most important thing we're going to focus on as a foundation. Shane, are you two paying attention? Okay, good. All right, thank you. Okay, number one is sustainability. And this is always number one and always will be number one. And again, this is the sustainability of the core protocol. This thing has to last, and it has to last forever. So what are we doing? We're doing this huge effort. And when I say we, I sort of don't mean me, obviously, right? You know, mostly, you know, I mean the brainiacs over in Boston, but, you know, we have to incentivize consensus because this protocol has to be around forever. And how is it going to be around forever? It's going to be around forever if people are incentivized to keep up, to maintain the network and to participate in the security of that network. That is our number one job. That's our number one priority. Number two is partnerships. Eric Ragg, who leads, can you stand up and take a bow? Eric Ragg, and where's Fede Demicelli? Where's Federico? Also leading partnerships for us. I don't see him. And Fede, stand up also, head of capital markets for us. Okay, number three is marketing. Mark for marketing. The reason obviously, the only reason I hired him because I could say Mark for marketing. I mean, you know, it just was too, he has other qualities as well, but he's, in a very short period of time, completely revamped. And let me also please give a shout out to Alexa Carr, who has been holding the ship together. I stole Alexa from Algorand Technologies in Boston, and then she was running it. We got a CMO. Alexa went on maternity leave for way too long. Things kind of started falling apart a little bit. Alexa came back, righted the ship. I mean, she has been the ballast of marketing since I've been here. So super grateful to have her. And all of this branding she leads. So, okay, number four, integration and standards. So this is two things, and you're going to hear a lot about that. First of all is integration, just making sure the algo is everywhere that you can find it. Dave Onwe, you want to take a stand up? He leads that team and responsible for integrations. And then Bruno Martins came along from Cardano, and he came and he was like, you know, just because certain things are better doesn't mean like we have to be so different. We have got to have the right standards. We have to have standards that everybody else is using. He's like, why do we have 25-word seed phrase? Everybody else has 24-word seed phrase. Like, make that make sense to me. Do you know that we can't integrate an A, B, and C, D? So he has like shifted us to really prioritizing these things. So Bruno, where are you? Can you stand up and take a bow? He's leading all of these efforts to make sure that we're standardized. Okay, developer environment. Again, this is Alessandro and MakerX. This was our number 2 strategic priority, but because they've done such a good job, it's gotten like if it stopped now, we'd still be okay. They are still, of course, relentlessly moving forward, but it is very much a compliment to them that when in the first year I was here, this sustainability is always number 1, but this was number 2, and it got dropped down because they've made so much progress. Okay, so that's number 5. There's only 25 of these, so just everybody, you know. Okay, so number 6 is this developer funnel. Now that we have a Python environment, we are going to take those 8 million Python and like cattle, we're going to move them through our funnel and onto mainnet in Algorand, and we're going to have an 8 million person strong developer community. Isn't that true, John and Mark and Min? Yes, it is. Okay, so we're going to really be developing and executing on that developer funnel the next 3 years. Wallet. Where's Yeet? Yeet, can you stand up? Yeet, the founder and runner of Wallet. I think taking Wallet last year was one of the greatest things we ever did at the foundation. And Wallet is a vehicle for us, and a vehicle, it is like the window into this ecosystem. And it is there for you. It's going to lead on standards adoption, but it is also going to be how the world discovers this ecosystem, and that's very important to us. And Yeet is not only a good technologist, but he has an incredible eye, and so he is really making very sure that the UI looks good and everything, that Para is really a top product. And is Loaf Pickle here? Where is he? Oh, he's not here yet. Okay. Also, we poached Loaf Pickle to run community engagement and customer acquisition at Para, so we're pretty excited about that. Okay, concierge level support. I've talked about this before. This is DevRel, and also when you're on mainnet. And this whole Decipher is the embodiment of that, right? We are here to provide support to show you how to do things. Everything from crisis communications to DevRel to how to manage your finances to everything that we could think of that you might want. Fred Estante running our, where's Fred Estante? Running, everybody knows Fred Asante, running our showcase. Like, this is all the embodiment of that kind of, we're trying to give real concierge level support for our developer community. Okay, decentralization, I don't need to say anything more about that. We are going to relentlessly push this protocol and these decisions to the community, starting, of course, with our grants program, and we have a pipeline of things after that. This is not easy, and we are going to be very careful, and we're not going to rush through this, but we're going to do this properly, but that is, of course, the path that we are on. And then additional geographies, we're going to make sure that we understand India, how to do India, and then explore other geographies like Nigeria or Vietnam or someplace in Latin America. You were just sort of thinking about that, but anyway, that's going to be our approach. So when you ask yourselves, what are the top 10 priorities of the foundation? Those are the top 10 priorities of the foundation. There will be a quiz later on, so make sure you take a picture of that. I'm just kidding. Okay, so a couple of announcements. First, Federico Demicelli, can you come up just for a second, please? So Fede has been working for a very long time on a very important partnership, which we're quite happy to announce, with LabTrace. And so the founder of LabTrace was actually called to be an expert witness in a trial about a company that was, or was it a research organization or a professor who was actually fudging the results of medical trials. So this is actually a thing, actually. You take a bunch of MRIs over time of the cancer. The cancer is getting bigger and bigger and bigger over time. And if you're trying to show the efficacy of your drug, well, all you have to do is switch the ordering of these MRIs. And you can show the cancer getting smaller and smaller over time, and you can say it's because of your drug that happened. Like, this actually happens in medical research. This guy discovered this, and he said, oh, I think we should try to do something about this. And Fede met him, or he reached out, and Fede was like, we can solve this for you. So how does it work now that he's saving medical research? How does it work?
By the way, I didn't expect this.
Yeah. Okay, so you take a timestamp.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like it's like, think Dropbox with timestamp, immutable timestamps, and a way to create folders which are effectively smart contracts, which permission different peoples to participate in each trial in a way which is auditable. and immutable.
Right. Very complicated. And so GlaxoSmithKline's involved in this, LabTrace is involved in this, lots of moving parties, and Fede closed this deal now, and so we're very excited about this. And in the future, we're going to have an integration with Siemens, so right out of the MRI machine, the timestamp comes on it, and you can trust. I mean, it's really a shame, honestly, that this stuff has to be on blockchain, but then you can trust the timestamp on your. Nice job, Fede. Okay, next. Can I please have Devin Morty, please, and Saj Kashru, please come up. Devin and Saj. Okay, when you look at these guys, first of all, you have to guess which one's leading integrations and which ones are GC. I bet you guess wrong. Anyway, so is there something that you wanted to announce, you two?
No, nothing.
All right, we'll play the video, and then we're going to ask you how this happened. So do I do anything now? Oh, there's no video. I'm sorry, there's no video. Okay, so after come to the middle, you can stand in the middle. Okay, after years and years of work on Devon's part, who runs integrations for us, and super heavy negotiation on the part of our general counsel with a organization that is much bigger than we are, it was funny to see actually Saj is in a video conference with like 40 Coinbase lawyers and Saj. We got this done, this USDCA on Coinbase. So USDCA listed on Coinbase. Not easy, because look, you can pay Coinbase $1 bajillion and get it done immediately, but if you don't want to spend community money, $1 bajillion of community money, then it takes time, and it takes finesse, and it takes effort, and we have been working on this for a long time, and I just want to, do you want to say anything about it at all, Devon?
Yeah, I'd love to. Look, this took a lot of effort, both cross-functionally at the foundation, Saj over here, obviously, CFO Harpal Singh, Min Wei, Eric Ragg, many people I'm going to forget who helped us get this over the line, but also our great partners at Coinbase. Like Stacy said, in lieu of throwing down a huge amount of money, you really need to understand what motivates them. They understood what motivated us, and we took the time to craft a partnership that made sense, and very, very excited to be able to deliver this for the community. We've heard you, and we're very, very glad to be able to deliver this.
Okay, and Saj, while you're up here, is there any guidance you want to give everybody about what they are and are not allowed to do while we're here?
Right. No, keep doing what you're doing, guys. Algo fam, you're great.
All right. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So again, this is all about you, and we are here for you. And you know, we don't always do everything right at the foundation, and nobody makes more mistakes than I do. But we just so appreciate you guys, and we try so hard to be here for you. And so let's celebrate for the next 2 days. Give yourselves a round of applause.
I told you there was a lot of stuff going on. That's pretty crazy. Anyway, and you're going to hear a lot more from our next speaker. I'm not sure how to introduce him. Well, some of you may know him as the Orange Man. I don't know. I refer to him maybe as sometimes Algo Jesus, but that's just me. But all of us know him as John Woods. So please give it up for John.
Okay, hey, how's everyone doing? Good. I'll go fucking Jesus. Oh my God. All right. No pressure. It's great to be here. The last time I spoke at Decipher was nearly 2 years ago, and we have come a long way. So today, I'm going to walk you through some bits and pieces that we've been doing. going to look at our 2024 roadmap. Going to talk about what's done so far and what we've got left to do. Going to look at AlgoKit 3 and some of the killer features we're bringing for developers, not only to make your lives easier, but also to attract new folks into the ecosystem. Then we're going to look at our research and development team and the kind of things that they've been doing, and there's some very exciting products we got there. They've been working with companies on integrations and got some cool announcements. And then finally, I'll talk about 2025 and what our focus will be for that. Cool. All right. You know, Stacy had a bunch of cool metrics. I think the one that stood out to me the most when Simon helped us put it together was that the number of unique applications is exponentially more than it was only a year ago. What's interesting about that is, of course, it's easy to programmatically deploy a whole bunch of apps, but having unique apps, it shows real diversity, right? It shows that people are doing different things, and having 16,000 of them on the chain is something I'm quite proud of. I'm hoping that the work we've done around the developer tools is really the catalyst around that. These are some, I think, other interesting metrics that we pulled. You know, the first billion transactions took 4 years. The next billion took 1 more year. And so that is quite incredible. We're seeing, in terms of assets created, so, you know, ASAs minted on the chain, a 76% growth year over year. And then finally, this is incredible stuff. There was 43 million transactions on a single day in 2024. That's essentially an average of 600 transactions a second for the entire day. And so, ghost chain, stick that up your ass. Okay. Okay. Just a shout out on the 2024 roadmap. Alexa and our crack marketing team did a great job. I haven't, yeah. I haven't memorized all the chess names, so I'm not going to refer back to them by their pseudonyms. Okay, so what have we done so far in 2024? We hit dynamic lambda, and so that's now down under 3 seconds. The block time's under 3 seconds. We've been conservative with that, and so we feel like we can tweak it a lot further. We could probably get it down under 2 seconds if we wanted to, but we want to make these changes in a conservative fashion. And as you're aware, I'll speak to in a few minutes, we have a bunch of things that are coming up that are going to change the way the network ebbs and flows, so we don't want to make too much of an aggressive change on dynamic lambda before we make the changes around consensus and peer-to-peer. We have the non-archival relays. You know, a year and a half ago, it cost about $4 million a year to run the relay program for the network. Relays that, you know, won't actually be required when we move to peer-to-peer. Now, today, thanks to non-archival relays, which are much more efficient, and other enhancements, the relay program is just over $1 million to run. So it's a 75% reduction in terms of costs at the foundation for those relays. And then I was really proud, of course, with the work that Ali, Sandro, and our partners at MakerX achieved when we rolled out AlgoKit 2.0. I remember at the first Decipher talking about AlgoKit, and the things I said were, we're going to give you, you know, a command line tool to help you build, test, and deploy, like Truffle. And we've come such a long way. You know, Python has really redefined the developer user experience. There's nothing wrong with Teal, but it's an assembly-like language. There's also languages like Tealish, created by Tinyman, right? Fergal at Tinyman. These are great things. But ultimately, although they give you a lot of control, they're not easy for newcomers. By bringing semantically and syntactically regular Python to the chain, we really lower the barriers to entry. We reduce the go-to-market costs for startups. And of course, we reduce the maintenance costs, because you don't need to hire exotic language developers to maintain your product. Oh, you know, one other thing. One product that I've seen come out that was possible with Python that just wouldn't have been possible with Teal in any kind of practical way is AlgoPlonk. And so Julio, who's a member of the community, created this thing, AlgoPlonk. It lets you express ZK circuits inside a contract in an efficient way. And so you can actually write up a zero-knowledge system inside an Algorand smart contract. And the way it works is that you define the circuit, and then his tool spits out the Teal that you need to compile into the contract. But for him to express the complexity of those zero-knowledge gates, the circuit, it was just not possible without using a higher level language like Python. So a great example of where we now have something very important that can enhance privacy and do other things that are very cool that wouldn't have been possible before the advent of a simple language like this. Okay, so what's up next? I think everyone's aware consensus incentives are coming. We had a vote on on the floor, so you need 30,000 algo to be a solo operator. But we're also working with our friends, Patrick Bennett back there from NFD, who've produced an incredible product which will allow you to do peer-to-peer pools, right? So if you haven't got the 30,000 algo, but of course you still want to get involved to be to earn rewards and support the network, which we need you to do, you can pool together in a decentralized, trustless way with open source contracts, and we're going to have that ready when consensus incentives are ready. We're still aiming to get this out this year, but the Inc. are working hard on it, and we want to make sure that it's robust. One other thing, I know people will say, you know, running a node is not that easy. Our new website launched today, by the way. It's very pretty. Alexa and team, very well done. Yeah. And we're now much more in touch with the community, right? So we have Pixel node there, we have Aus one-click node there, but we're also going to have a kind of a canonical terminal user interface that you can use to start up your node, shut down your node, check the status of your node, and in a very cool way, present a QR code that you can scan on Para or DFly or whatever wallet you want to use to issue your participation keys. So we're going to make it easier because we want people to be involved. Thank you. And then finally, peer-to-peer. You know, peer-to-peer is a thing that Silvio has said to me, do we really need it? I think the answer is no. The network works great with relays. But like Stacy said in her keynote, we want to eliminate the excuses and the criticisms. And I think it's important that we do have a fallback. And so you don't require these relays anymore. Once we roll out peer-to-peer, your data will flow through the network. Of course, as things maximally decentralize, they don't stay as fast, okay? So using peer-to-peer may not be a 2-second block time, might be a 4-second block time. But ultimately, it will be there, and you can use that, and they will complement each other. And of course, we want to roll out the peer-to-peer change after we see this increase in the number of consensus nodes, right? Because when we incentivize consensus, we're going to see a whole slew of new nodes pop up. That's going to change the topology and how many pathways there are between these nodes. And so it makes sense to do this after we roll out consensus incentives. All right, so, you know, a year ago, we didn't have an engineering team at the foundation whatsoever. And so I think it's become really important to have some engineering prowess so we can deliver on things, whether it's the terminal user interface for consensus incentives or just maintaining our own software internally so that we don't have to pay external vendors a lot of money to do things like the randomness beacon or other useful tools. And so I hired Bruno from Cardano, where I also used to work, and he's built a killer engineering team. And as you know, I've sucked up the community, hired Kyle, I hired Silent Rhetoric, we've hired another great individual who's going to be joining the team very soon. So we've got, I think, a really wonderful team. On their own, without any kind of requirements set or you know, me or others driving the product requirements, the team have come up with some great things, and I want to share some of them today with you. Okay, so first up is Liquid Auth. This is a really important thing. We're going to have a really aggressive press release around this, and Bruno and Alessandro are going to come up on stage in a short while and demo it live. This thing is super important. Right now, we go to all this effort to build these decentralized applications. But the communications between your Para wallet or your wallet on your phone and the front end that's hosted by the provider, like the Folks Finance front end, that communication is usually over Wallet Connect, okay? Wallet Connect is a centralized entity that has to allow list or whitelist you to use it. It's unacceptable that we go to all of this effort to keep these things decentralized, and then at the last minute, we use a centralized broker for that communication when you're actually preparing the transaction to interact with the chain. Yeah, boo. So, bye-bye fucking Wallet Connect, you're gone. We're moving to use Liquid Auth, and Liquid Auth will provide all the primitives you need to do peer-to-peer discovery and peer-to-peer routing of your data from your wallet to the dApps front end, and this is really, really important. It's also, though, using all of the regular Web 2 primitives, right? We're using FIDO2, we're using WebAuth, we're using passkeys, and so you'll be able to use your Algorand wallet to sign into websites like GitHub using passkeys, and we're going to demo that later today. Wallets become a lifestyle app now, and they're centered around you. It's going to be a seismic change in how you interact with things, and I think that Liquid Auth not only works, of course, with Algorand, but it also works with other ecosystems like Ethereum and Cardano. So we're very excited to remove this last point of centralization from the entire industry. Thank you. in my practice speech, I went too low on the old XD, HD wallet stuff. So just to say, right now, 25 words. It's not a BIP39 or BIP44 standard. It means we don't have as much compatibility across wallets. It means when users come from MetaMask, they're like, they got this extra word, they're using different types of keys. And also critically, have you ever noticed when you're in Wallet or any wallet on Algorand, including Goal, you can create an account, but unlike your Ledger app, you can't derive, a new address for a one-time receive the way you can in Ledger. Well, Bruno and the team have built an implementation of BIP44 for Algorand, which allows one seed, one 24-word seed, and practically unlimited addresses to be derived from it. It increases privacy because you can use it for one-time payments. And wonderfully, they've done this with Chris Picart, who is a world-leading cryptographer who implemented state proofs for us. And Chris has done it with the team in a way that you can use your Algorand wallets or your private keys to do encrypted communications. So what that means is that the implementation respects the nuances of the Curve 25519 cofactor, and so you'll now see entirely new cases for your Algorand wallet, not just for storing funds and making payments, but also for maybe peer-to-peer communications over the chain in an encrypted fashion. Cool. And then finally, on R&D out of the shop is privacy. So we're looking at a number of different primitives that we think are important to bring privacy to Algorand. I know this is something Silvio talked about in terms of smart contracts, but we're going to focus on payments first. And so the types of things we're exploring, cryptographic transactions, ring signatures, zero-knowledge proofs using things like Plonk, and of course, as some of you will have noticed, we added pairing-based curve support to the AVM, so you can do equivalence checks on BLS 12381 and BN 254, and so this adds a layer of homomorphic additivity, and you can do some cool privacy things. We think privacy is important, and we're going to be focused on it. All right, one other thing. Para is going to get MasterCard support. You're going to be able to... Yeah. I'm super proud of this one. Immersive is a small but very successful startup that issues regular MasterCards that work everywhere MasterCard works. They're working with Ethereum. And I met, I think, their co-founder, I think it was at a side event, and we talked about bringing immersive support or MasterCard support into the Algorand ecosystem. One of the things I noticed, sorry, I think my audio's going, yeah, cool. One of the things I noticed very quickly talking to him was that they only settle once a day on Ethereum because it costs too much money to settle. So when someone taps the card, they don't seize the crypto on their side to actually pay for that transaction. They essentially provide a little bit of a loan service. That introduces risk. If the user was to simultaneously try to spend that money, they wouldn't be able to claim the crypto later. When I explained to the team that it was possible to have instant finality at near zero cost so that they could not have that translation risk, not have that time risk, but immediately settle the crypto leg of the journey whilst the user paid for something, they were all over it. Of course, they didn't have experience building with Algorand, and so that's where our R&D and DevRel team came in and gave them the lift and love that they needed to bring MasterCard support to Para. It's in testnet right now. We're going to have an amazing press release at the end of the week, but it's big news. Thank you. And I should add that Yeet will talk about this further in his keynote, Yeet, the CTO at Para. Okay, AlgoKit 3. I'm really proud of how far we've come. In AlgoKit 2, we brought Python support, but we're not done with it yet. We're going to be bringing support for tuples, dynamic and efficient arrays, and other primitives that are going to make development really, really easy using Python. So we're going to enhance this further. But this year, we're also going to bring support for TypeScript. Now, some of you are already using Joe Ponley's wonderful Teal script. We're taking, of course, massive inspiration from that. We're taking a lot of the learnings from that. But TypeScript is going to follow the same the same implementation pattern that Python followed. We're going to make sure it's semantically and syntactically normal. And what this means is, when you take Algorand TypeScript, you should be able to pop it into Node.js and it will run inside that context. So it's going to mean that not only the 8 million Python developers, but also, I don't know actually the number, however many TypeScript developers there are, will be able to join the party. Also this year, we're bringing line-by-line debugging and unit testing for both Python and TypeScript. Now this is a huge thing. Right now, even when you're in Python, you're trying to debug, you can't go line by line, right? You can't step into and step over things. Soon, you'll be able to step into functions, step over functions, and line by line debug, set breakpoints, all the things you're used to when you're using regular development environments in a non-blockchain context. Okay, I also tweeted about LoRa. LoRa is going to change the way we develop apps on Algorand. And so we're bringing a local experience to the development flow for developers on Algorand. There's 3 things I want to talk about. The first is that we have a completely redesigned, from the ground up, local explorer that is lightning fast. You click, you're straight into it. And this local explorer will essentially be looking into it can look into mainnet and testnet too, but it looks into a sandbox to let you see your transactions. We have a transaction visualization tool, which is going to graphically map out the flow of transactions, app calls, mints, payments. You'll be able to see all of the detail of your transactions as your contract flows and walk through them in a very sequenced and structured way. It's colorful, it's interactive, and it's visual. And it's going to make a whole new dimension for Algorand. When you're developing on it, you're going to be able to reach out and touch your code. And then finally, we're bringing local compilation. I don't know how many of you are aware, but when you're running AlgoKit, one of the things that's running in the background in the Docker engine is a copy of AlgoD. A stripped down copy of AlgoD, the node, but you still have to send the TIL to Algorand's node in order to compile it into AVM bytecode. Well, no longer. You're now going to be able to compile locally. And you might think, well, is that much of a benefit? Well, there's 2 things that this allows. Number 1, no web calls when you're compiling. I mean, GCC doesn't have a web call when you're compiling C into machine code. But secondly, it lets us do things like REPLs, right? So as you type a line of code, it's able to instantly compile and give you feedback. You know, when you're typing, when you're writing code in TypeScript in Node, you get that instant feedback. And so we want developers to know they've made a mistake the second they hit a key, not when they finish the line. Finally, just one other thing I want to talk about on the holistic tool suite. We've got a bunch of exciting things, from interoperability to a bunch of libraries for dealing with smart contracts. But something that we don't talk about enough in our ecosystem is reacting to on-chain events. On Ethereum, whenever you build apps, one of the things you've got to do is be able to watch the chain for what's happening, be able to react when a contract makes a change. Right now, with Algorand, you've got to run an indexer. I'm sure many of you are running them in your backend. If you're not running an indexer, you've got to scrape the chain. It's a pain in the ass. We're going to bring a solution, it's actually already implemented, that lets you subscribe to a whole bunch of events on the chain in an extremely lightweight way. So you can declaratively state what you want to subscribe to, and just by running an AlgoD node, you'll get like a pub sub model where it will notify you as soon as these things happen. This is going to dramatically reduce the back-end execution costs, and it's going to make reacting to on-chain events easier than it is even in Ethereum. Cool. Finally, for 2025, our focus is going to be around enhancing, as we always focus on, I suppose, the security and decentralization of the chain. So, the threat of quantum computing to elliptic curve cryptography is real, of course. You know, I was looking at the current state of the art in terms of quantum computers. The threat that quantum computers bring to elliptic curves and to RSA is that they can run in a very efficient way an algorithm called Shor's algorithm, which essentially allows the quantum computer to quickly solve the elliptic curve discrete log. This is to find where on the elliptic curve your public key is and reverse it into your private key. And so this would allow people to spend your funds. Not good. The current state of the art in terms of quantum computers is around 1,000 qubits. Okay? The thing is, though, those quantum computers, they, when you're running Shor's algorithm, you need to do so using error-correcting qubits. These are kind of logical qubits. So you need a whole bunch of these regular qubits to make a single logical qubit. So we are a little way off a practical attack on elliptic curves or on RSA. But we want to be ready. We don't want to be reactive to this as people's accounts get drained. So Apple added post-quantum primitives to iMessage this year. And if you read their blog post, they'll talk about how there's a ton of extra data. They have to ratchet the keys, and they're sending a lot of data over the wire. But they're willing to do it, and they're willing to put the engineering effort in. Google added it to Chrome. They added Kyber to Chrome, right? That's another lattice-based key encapsulation mechanism. They've added this to their products. They're not bloating these products out for no reason. It's because that they understand that there's a real threat there and they take it serious from an engineering point of view. And so do we. With the advent of Falcon, which is fast Fourier lattice-based SIGs over ntrue, we secured the history of the chain against quantum attacks. And this means all the blocks up to the last 12 minutes ago are secure against an attack from a quantum machine. But in 2025, we're going to be focused on research into a post-quantum verifiable random function, because the VRF itself that we talk about and are proud about is actually using elliptic curves. It's not safe against a quantum attack. And also, we need a post-quantum signature scheme for transactions, because our signature scheme that we use also needs to be upgraded in order to be quantum secure. So that's it. I think the story here is AlgoKit 3 is going to give a developer experience which is going to be world-class, certainly industry-leading. We're focused on post-quantum. We're driving towards decentralization with peer-to-peer and with consensus incentives. You're going to be able to reach out and touch your code in a visual way with LoRa. And finally, our R&D department are doing some very cool things. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Dropping alpha, dropping F-bombs, but it's a tough act to follow. However, we have someone in this room, a CMO, who broke crypto Twitter a couple of weeks ago with the ad that lit up our competitors potentially. And I'm very pleased to introduce Mark Van Lerberg, our CMO, Algorand Foundation. Let's give it up.
Hey, morning. Hello.
Hey.
You guys take Bitcoin, right?
Sure do.
I'm going to be paying with Ethereum, if that's okay.
Okay, yep, no problems.
It's a good thing I'm paying with Solana.
You can go ahead and tap.
Yeah, and there we go.
Oh, it failed. Try it again. Whoa, hold up there, Smart. It looks like it's going to be another 27 minutes before this transaction clears.
What?
Sorry, $112. I have like 3 things.
Ethereum, they got that peak hour gas thing.
Now you got it.
Maybe one more time. What are you going to do? Just wait right here, without the bag, without the bag.
I think it's going to work this time.
No. Should have shopped with Algorand.
How do I get in that line?
Very nice. Very nice, Mark. Very nice.
That was fun. That was fun.
I'm sure it was fun, but how much did that cost?
Oh, not a lot actually. We tried to be very scrappy with it. It was about $23,000 or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Very nice. And will we see another one?
Oh, I don't know about that. Maybe.
Maybe the community will.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows? Who knows?
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone here. And I'm looking at the camera. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening to AlgoFam. I hear there's thousands of people watching this in live stream. So excited to be here with all of you. You know, it's only been 3 months since I've been here, and I'm incredibly grateful for the warm welcome that you guys have given me. And, you know, it kind of reminded me of my days when I was at Google and I was running Android marketing. For us, our developer ecosystem was everything. And I think the same is true here. I think the community that we have here is very special, and I feel quite honored to be part of it all. So, let's talk about marketing. So this is what I'm going to talk about. And because I'm a marketing guy and I don't like bullets, I put it in a nice house. And so, but there's also a meaning behind it. So at the bottom of the foundation, you have the data, right? And the data is really, really important in the blockchain environment because the data will signal to everybody how good your blockchain and how good your ecosystem is performing. So data is really the foundational layer of everything. And then on top of the roof, you have the brand and the messaging. And it's the roof because it basically covers everything. And whatever stories you're telling, whatever marketing activities you want to deploy, you want to make sure your brand and your messaging is consistent and the stories you're telling are consistently told. So that's why it's kind of the roof. And then at the heart of the house really sits the ecosystem. And the ecosystem consists of users, it consists of developers, and it consists of our community. And so the role of marketing, as I see it, is to really help grow that ecosystem, acquire more users, onboard more developers, and grow our community. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And so let's dive in. Let's start with fix the data. So this is an important topic. And this has been a topic that I think has been a bit challenging for us in the past, because some providers out there don't mention Algorand or don't cover Algorand. Some providers have outdated data, and some providers actually have wrong data, like for instance our transaction count, which is not reported in the correct way in many instances. And so this is a very important area that we want to cover. But I have good news to share with you on this topic. So first announcement, we're actually launching a completely new metrics hub on our website. And that metrics hub will be the central source of information for all data as it relates to Algorand. It will have a few dashboards, that shows you transaction count and everything. But more importantly, it will also have links out to trusted third parties for detailed metrics about our DeFi activities or our RWA assets or anything that relates to basically the activity on our chain. We will basically link to outside resources that are trusted, that we have validated, and that provide the right amount of information. So having this centralized metrics hub on our website actually will help provide a trusted source of information about all things Algorand. So we're very excited about that. So that's number one. Second thing, we're announcing a partnership with Nansen. And Nansen is one of the top 3 analytics platforms in the industry. So Nansen is very well known for their real-time statistics and their real-time insights, and they're trusted by investors, by traders, by the media, who are looking for neutral information about how a blockchain is performing. And so being on Nansen is critically important for us, and so we're super, super excited about this partnership. And so this is one of the dashboards that we're working with them on to create. Nansen will go live later this summer. And besides the dashboards, it will also include a lot more information. So for instance, it will include information, we'll do co-marketing with them. So they will basically figure out interesting insights about our ecosystem and our platform, and then we'll co-market them together. Secondly, they'll do ecosystem spotlights, so they'll take particular projects and highlight them and show them how the data that they generate is interesting. And thirdly, which also is interesting for all of you, is that it allows you to create custom dashboards. You can create your own dashboards on the Nansen platform to highlight whatever metrics that you want to highlight. And we're planning on launching a training session for all of you later this month or early next month to kind of teach you how to basically integrate those dashboards in your own message flows. So we're very excited about that. So that's the second thing. Third thing, we continue to work with Messari. Messari, as you probably know, produces quarterly reports on the state of Algorand. And so we will continue to work with Messari to make sure that those reports are accurate and accurately reflect the activity on-chain. And Messari is an important partner for us because their quarterly reports are trusted in the crypto industry. They're kind of a standard in the crypto industry. So we're excited to continue to work with them. So that's number 3. And last but not least, let me talk about Project Fix the Data. This is a community-driven project that we launched a couple of weeks ago. And the idea was to work with our community to identify sources of information that are wrong or outdated, and work with our community to go fix them. And so I want to highlight one particular element or one particular data point that was particularly challenging for us, and that's the active developer count. As you probably know, if you look at the reports on active developers, Algorand doesn't score very well. Does it mean we don't have a lot of active developers? I mean, if I look around this room, I would say, yeah, we have plenty of active developers, so why aren't they counted? And we're not counted because a lot of the methodology that is used for calculating active developers is using repos, GitHub repos, and making sure that those repos get reported. There's one company that does that called Electric Capital. And so as part of Fix the Data, we basically encouraged all of our developers to post their open source repos to Electric Capital, and they let us know that over 86 new repos have been posted in the last couple of weeks. And I think that's really important because I think in the next couple of weeks they'll produce the new stats and hopefully we'll see a boost in the number of active developers that are reported on Algorand. So I'm very excited about that. But at the same time, I see a lot more than 86 people here. So this is also a call out to all of the developers here to look at your projects. And if you haven't open sourced your project or open sourced a part of your project, you should seriously consider about doing that because I think it fits with the ethos of blockchain industry, the crypto industry in general, and having more eyes on your code makes for better code. So we would encourage everyone to look at their code, and if it's not open sourced yet, seriously consider open sourcing it and reporting it to Electric Capital at the same time. So that's project Fix the Data. Let's move on to the next one. Brand and messaging. So we spent a lot of time over the last couple of months thinking through what's our core value proposition as a blockchain, and also think about the Algorand Builder. What does the Algorand Builder stand for? What are some of the attributes associated with Algorand Builder? Those are the kind of two key building blocks of how you set up a brand. And so we've come up, and we've talked to a lot of people about this, and so this is what we ended up with. Our value proposition as a blockchain, I think, is very, very clear. It's super simple. We enable blockchain solutions at real-world scale. That is what we stand for. It's very clear. And we are not a blockchain that's in beta. We're not a blockchain that is being in test mode. We are a blockchain that scales right now, and so we are ready for real-world scale. That, to us, is like the core of what we stand for, and also our core differentiator. And then if you think about the Algorand Builder, we start thinking about, okay, what are some of the attributes that are associated with an Algorand Builder? And I think we have a couple of on here. I think an Algorand Builder is really driven to solve hard problems. We're not here to do little things. We're here to do big things. Secondly, all of us, we have our feet firmly planted in the real world. And I think that's really important. And it kind of aligns with our value proposition as a blockchain. We're change makers. We're not here to kind of push for the status quo. We're change makers. And the fourth one is we're in a relentless pursuit of impact. It's not just that we do like random stuff. We're really looking to have impact in the world. And that, I think, signifies like who we are as a community and who we are as a brand. And this kind of forms the cornerstone of what the brand is all about. And let me show you how we try to bring that to life. This is a short animation that basically brings this idea of this brand to life. As you can see, we heavily lean in on the idea of scale, right? The second thing you'll notice is that a lot of the imagery that we use is real-world imagery. So this is not some cyber funky, nerdy thing. This is about the real world, and it's about using real footage in the real world. It's about using humans. It's about using people in your marketing, which is like shocking. Most of the blockchain ads that you see have no people in them. It's all like this weird, like crypto. Like, no, I think this is real stuff. This is the real world, and we're talking about the real world. And so we want to bring in much more human photography. We want to bring in more human images into it. We want to make sure that you, as the builder, are represented in all of the marketing that we do. So that's how we're thinking about this. So now let's talk a little bit more about the brand itself. So today, we are announcing a complete refresh of our brand. And actually, this is probably not a surprise to you, but if you look around you, you can actually see that the colors kind of have varied a little bit more. It's not just all teal. We started adding more colors to it. And if you think about the brand, there's really three components to it. There's the logo itself, there's the colors that kind of accompany it, and then there's the system, like all the system, how the kind of brand behaves and how the motions are done and everything. And so the logo we won't touch. I think the logo is great the way it is. Color palette, we started changing it a little bit. Besides going with all teal, we started adding a second color, kind of this beautiful blue color to it, to give it kind of more power and make it more visually striking. And then the third thing we did is, as you saw in the animation that just finished, is we started working with shapes and looked at we were inspired by the A of Algorand and started cutting it up and creating multiple shapes and making those shapes move and then filling those shapes with more kind of like real world footage. And that's how the whole kind of brand system comes together and becomes much more alive and vivid. And actually what you see here around you is all this new brand, right? If you see these shapes here, these shapes and these shapes, these are all part of the kind of new branding that we've come up with and that we're launching today. So I hope you like that. And there's more. We want this to be your brand. This is not just about the foundation. This is the ecosystem brand. We want this to be your brand. And so we're adding even more color to the whole system. We added these oranges and we added these yellow accents. And these, like any content that you guys produce that you want to basically be in line with the branding overall, you can use this very, very rich color palette. And so we've asked a couple of like terrific NFT artists to create some artwork that basically brings this to life. And you can see how it works. You can see all these gorgeous colors, all like very rich in nature, and this is all becoming part of the overall palette of the brand that is basically your brand, not just ours. It's our brand as a community. And actually, this whole Algorand kit is available on our website, so you can actually download all of these assets and use them in your campaigns in whatever way or format that you want. So, talking about websites, I've mentioned website twice now, and John kind of preempted me in his presentation. That was not the deal. Like, John, what's up with that? So, anyways, so I was going to announce, and this is not news anymore, but John preempted me, a new website. We have a completely new website. Payback. At some point, there will be payback. So anyway, so we're launching a completely new website. And there's also a new URL. The URL is algorand.co, algorand.co. And the big difference with the previous website, besides the new branding that's part of it, but the big fundamental difference is that this is no longer a foundation website or it's an Inc. website. No, it's a community website. It's an ecosystem website. It's the website for Algorand, the project. And so it's organized as such. So we want to have a website where anybody that's new to Algorand, whether you're a user, you're a developer, you're a builder, you're an investor, and you want to learn about Algorand and you want to see an easy on-ramp, you go to the website, you can learn about the project. And so you can see everything is organized actually by journey, by user journey. So there's a Get Started button, there's a developer button that shows you the developer trajectory. And so everything is organized by journey. So we hope that people will enjoy and will like this website. And please bear with us. We launched it today. I'm sure there'll be bugs. So bear with us. We're going to quickly go in and fix anything that you notice. But hopefully, I think it's looking great, and I'm very excited about the work that has gone into it. I can tell you it's a massive amount of work to completely build a new website. So we're excited that we got it done in time for Decipher. Okay, that's the website. So as you can see, a big part of this website is the Algorand ecosystem directory. So we really want to feature our projects in the best possible way. And so as we start preparing later this year, a bigger marketing campaign, an awareness campaign that lifts the profile of Algorand, we want to make sure our projects are front and center in all of it. And so this is really important to us. And so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to basically celebrate all of the projects that we have, we put them on a pedestal, and we will make them part of a bigger awareness campaign. So we're very excited about that. And actually, the Decipher conference is a really important moment for us because you guys are all here, and so we want to capture as much content as we possibly can from all of you. So we will be recording all of the sessions that are happening at Decipher. On top of that, we have 3 24/7 recording studios set up on the second floor, on the first, sorry, I get confused, is it first floor or second? First floor for the Europeans, second floor for the Americans. So we are, because here we are on the ground floor, first floor. Anyways, I probably confused you all. So let me make a, yes, it's one up. Yes, it's one up, one floor up. So we have 3 studios, dedicated studios there, where we're going to record as much content as we possibly can from all of you to be used later in our marketing campaigns. And the last piece, and this is also very much ecosystem related, is we want to basically amplify all the news that you create. If you have announcements to do, if there's news coming from you, we want to make sure we amplify it. So we're going to double down on PR investments to make sure we can lift your profile and lift the Algorand's profile at the same time by highlighting and amplifying all the news that you create. And so you'll see I think we have 4 or 5 press releases going out today and tomorrow. The summary press release that will launch at the end of Decipher, I think will have something like 27 project announcements in there. So we're very happy to be able to do this and incorporate all of your projects and all the press that we do. Okay, let's move on to ecosystem. And so I'm not going to go left to right. I'm going to go to the center of the house. And the center of the house, of course, are the developers. And so let's talk about that. As John said, with the launch of AlgoKit, we have a massive opportunity to really be attractive to Python developers. And so from a marketing perspective, we've been investing heavily in attracting Python and raising awareness amongst the Python community. And it's a big opportunity, right? There's only about 30,000 active Web3 developers. There's 8 million Python developers. So it's a really big opportunity for us. And so the initial effort that we've done over the last couple of months together with our community, I think is already bearing fruit. We've basically achieved a reach of over 1.5 million people through the community outreach that you guys have done, the messages that you have spread all over Twitter and YouTube, and also amplified by the marketing ad spend that we've done. So we had a reach of over 1.5 million, which is quite substantial in a short amount of time, about 2 months. Secondly, we saw a huge increase in our AlgoKit downloading page. We had 240,000 sessions to our AlgoKit download page, which is a really important number. Our developer activity increased by 50% since the beginning of this year. And we had close to 3,000 people sign up for our bootcamps. So I think these are good numbers to start. But we're only 2 months in, and we want to go much further than this. And so there's a couple of new initiatives that we want to do later this year. First is, we're actually going to work with Python key opinion leaders to create custom content. Because of course, putting a display ad in front of a developer, as you all know, is not necessarily the most effective marketing technique. Because who likes advertising, right? Like, nobody likes advertising. So using just regular display banners is not going to be the most effective way. So what we're going to do in the second phase of the campaign is we're going to work with Python key opinion leaders to produce custom content, tutorials, or video guides, etc., and spread those within the Python community. That's the first thing. The second thing we're going to do is record a lot of dev-to-dev, what we call dev-to-dev content, developer-to-developer content. And so we want to hear from you. Like we want to hear and learn about your experience. How has it been to develop on Python? Like what worked for you? What was challenging? Did it go better? Did you move faster? Like we want to hear your stories about how you've been using Python to develop on blockchain. And we want to record those and put them out there as dev-to-dev, what we call dev-to-dev content. And one of the 3 studios I mentioned to you is dedicated to dev-to-dev content. So if you have a story to tell, if you have experience in doing Python, and you haven't been signed up for a session in our studio, please reach out to me or reach out to Chris, who's our head of content and who's sitting right there. Stand up, Chris. And he will get you signed up for a session to tell your story so that we can then use it later to promote it to Python developers. And then the third thing we'll do is be more present at Python conferences and at big developer conference. We started this with PyCon a couple of months ago. And so the next big one that we're going to is We Are Developers in Berlin. And so we've basically recrafted our messaging to Python developers. So far, we've been talking about Python on blockchain, creating awareness. You can now develop Python on blockchain. But we want to go one step further, and we want to basically go speak to the developers in a more personal way. And I think it's going to be an interesting messaging because what we're going to talk to them about is like, hey, you're a Python developer. Things in the Web 2 world are not that easy for you. Like with what's happening with AI, your job is not that secure anymore. Like Google is firing people and Amazon is firing people. And actually, guess what? When you're like working for one of these big companies, you don't own what you make. And so you should really think about owning what you make. And that is the key message that we're going to go out with. Stop developing on quicksand and own what you make. And so you should be thinking about blockchain because that's the platform that you can use to create your own innovations and own what you make. So I think this is a pretty powerful message. And so we're hoping that will resonate well with the developers in Berlin. By the way, I love this line here. Tech layoffs were 59% higher in 2023. Still think Web3 is too unstable. Isn't that funny? I thought it was funny. Okay, anyways, moving on. Users, let's talk about users. So, as I mentioned, we're going to do a bigger brand campaign, awareness campaign, to raise Algorand's profile. But I think that's not enough. What we ultimately want is we want users to come and download the Para wallet and start doing transactions and activity on chain. And so I'm very happy to announce that we've partnered with Coinbase. You've heard about the company earlier today. We've partnered with Coinbase to launch a Learn and Earn program starting in roughly about 2 months ago. And the Learn and Earn program is designed to go after the Coinbase user base and basically convince them to try out Algorand. And this is not just learn and earn, like, okay, you know, you should watch this video and then you'll get 10 algo or something. No, this is not it. This is not. What we want to do is we want to hold people's hands and we want to get them to do activities and transactions on chain. And we reward them for activity and transactions on chain, not for just watching a video. And so what that means, and there's 5 stages here, and this is work in progress, so these stages may change, but to give you an idea. So we want to hold people's hand and go through the entire experience, starting with downloading the Para wallet. Secondly, do a DeFi transaction. 3, download an NFT. 4, maybe participate in governance. 5, maybe participate in node incentivization, so we can kind of lock them in and make them loyal to the Algorand blockchain. Again, these are ideas. They may change, but you get the idea. The idea is big awareness campaign, and then followed up with a user acquisition campaign that really holds people's hands and get them to basically run transactions on the network and experience the power of the Algorand blockchain. So that's our Learn and Earn program. We're excited about that. I think it's going to launch August, September timeframe. Okay, last part. We're almost there. Almost there. Community. So, Algo fan, obviously. Algo fan. I love Algo fan. So we have a big community, and you guys are very active. You're active on YouTube. You're active on X, of course. Active on Reddit. And we're super, super excited to engaging with everyone on this and growing this community over time. And this is critically important for us because, you know, your voice is much bigger than my voice, and your reach is much bigger than the reach that I can handle from a marketing perspective. So I want to basically make the relationship between the marketing team here and the community stronger than ever, so that we can actually work together on spreading the word about Algorand. And to give me an idea about when you talk about the commercial, for instance, supermarket commercial, we had over 2 million views, and we didn't spend a single marketing dollar. All those 2 million views were generated by you. Were generated by you spreading the message. And this is really the secret power of Algorand, is having this community be engaged with us, be enthusiastic about the project, about the ecosystem, and basically spread the message. And I'm committed to making sure that I continue to engage with you, listen to you, and also give you the tools to spread this message far and wide. Okay, so that was a lot. So we talked about brand, we talked about messaging, we talked about fixing the data, new campaign coming, new user campaign, new developer campaign, partnership with Nansen, etc., etc. So we have a completely full agenda between now and the end of the year. But the overall thing I want you to remember, that my key mission here is to make sure that Algorand becomes part of the zeitgeist again. And I think you and I together, I think we am convinced that we can achieve this. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mark. That was pretty incredible. You know you're in the hands of a master when you listen to him. It's pretty extraordinary. I love the way he slips in. When I was running Android marketing for Google, you kind of know. When I was making Android a global name, after I was done, everybody on planet Earth knew Android. I just wanted to slip that in there, which is... When I was playing quarterback for the Patriots, I kind of learned a thing. Anyway, that was extraordinary, and you're in the hands of a master. Anyway, this next panel is going to be pretty cool. Algorand OGs tell all from 0 to 1. And I'm very pleased to bring up on stage Benedetto Biondi from Folks Finance, Yeet Guler from Terra Wallet, John Mazzoni from Transaction Labs, and Michael Cotton, CEO and founder of Melgold, and our moderator, the great Min Wei. Take it away, Min.
Thank you, Matt. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me? Oh, hello. Hi. It's so good to see you here. Welcome to Barcelona. We're going to spend 2 fantastic days together, and I cannot wait. So Christine and Matt were like, this is not going to be your typical load up on panels type conference, but here we are. Actually, I have to say, as we are celebrating the 5-year mainnet launch, we just could not resist bringing some OGs up on stage with us to share their journey. And so I'm very honored to be here to moderate this panel with them. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Min Wei. I lead ecosystem for Algorand Foundation. And here with me, we have Michael, CEO of Melgold. We have John, co-founder of Transaction Labs. We have Yeet, the CTO of Para. And we have Benedetto, CEO of Folks Finance. So I want to start from the very beginning. Mainnet launched June 19th, 2019, right? But Yeet, as I understand, Para Wallet was live before then. Can you tell us how it all got started?
Yeah, definitely. So I can say I was here before the mainnet launch even. So we were a product development studio, and we were mainly working with fintech startups, and we worked for Robinhood before they launched, and Algorand contacted us to create the first mobile wallet of Algorand before even testnet was live, I guess. So we started to working on it, and I have great memories. I remember the day we launched the mainnet version. So it was just a couple weeks before the mainnet launch, and it was quite stressful. And then I remember the mainnet launch. It was very exciting. And then I remember the day we launched the ASAs, because in the first version there were no ASAs, and we launched it because Algorand did not support ASAs back then. I remember that. I remember that the 10,000 ASA limit, I don't know who remembers that, the day that it has been removed. I am still seeing the effects because we thought it will be always enough, 1,000 assets per account. Who would have more accounts? But now we have unlimited. I remember the day we launched Wallet Connect. I remember the day we launched Discover section. So lots of memories.
Yeah, I mean, that's just such a long time ago, but yet it feels so relevant today, you know?
Yeah.
So mainnet came live, and then a couple months later, I think we had 2 kind of different projects launch on mainnet. So Folks Finance and Melgold. I want to start with you, Benedetto. Tell us how did Folks start? What were you building when you first launched, and what was happening?
Yeah, so first of all, it's great to be here and seeing all of those friends at Decipher and seeing the community.
Wait, hold on. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Better? Okay.
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Okay. So it's great to be back here in Decipher. No? Not working?
Can we hear?
Can we?
No.
No.
Okay, so maybe you can start with...
Oh, maybe we'll start with Michael then. So,
Morning.
Michael, yeah, tell us about, okay, so for Michael, my question to you is a little bit different. So, what made you want to launch a physical sort of product tokenization platform in 2019? That was a long time ago.
Yeah, thanks, Min. Can everyone hear me okay?
Oh, can you guys hear?
Take
No.
this.
Yours is working now.
Thanks, Min. Thanks, Min. Can you hear me? No?
We're having some technical difficulties.
Back to you, Ben.
So now it works.
No, we can hear you.
I can
All right, you guys, like ping pong, back and forth.
Okay,
back
that's
to you.
the beauty of the life, no?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I love it. Mainnet, live.
Yes, so First of all, glad to be back in Decipher, seeing all of those friends, AlgoFam, OGs. Glad to be an OGs of the AlgoFam. Yeah, so we started pretty early. I used to work at the software house Blockchain Italia, which was one of the first Algorand global partner for development. And we simply thought that DeFi was going to peak in all the layer 1. At that time, there was the fight between the Ethereum killers. I remember there was Solana, Algorand, Near, all saying like, like we are going to fight Ethereum. And DeFi was, of course, already a big thing on Ethereum. It wasn't a big thing on another layer 1, so we thought that it was going to peak everywhere. And being already a partner of Algorand, we just thought, let's build something. So at that time, we already noticed that there was Algomint being built, Tinyman. So definitely we needed a lending protocol. So for us, the idea was simply, okay, let's build one. We have the developers, we have the knowledge, why not? And we decided to apply to the Algorand Europe Accelerator. That was it was November 2020, so pretty a long time ago now. And at that time, Algorand didn't have even the virtual machine, so it was extremely difficult to even build in 3 months, an MVP of the protocol. But nevertheless, we did, and it was great because by proving ourselves that we could build such a difficult product, advanced product, then we started all the part of the raise. We raised the $3 million, which we onboarded for the first time, named like Coinbase, Parafai, Jump on Algorand, Borderless, of course. Yeah. We then arrived to mainnet. That was April 2022, 1 week before the Terra Luna crash. So it was not a good time. Plus, AlgoFi was launching a bit earlier, so we did have some, let's say, not first mover advantage anymore. But it was tricky, but I think our mission was keep building, keep improving the product, keep making it better, keep adding feature, and I think that was the key of success of Folks. And here we are now, never stopping building, never stopping believing in Algorand. So,
was there a point that you knew it was going to work? I mean, in this journey, was there like something
from the very beginning?
From the very beginning.
I'm known for my confidence.
I love that confidence. I love it. Very cool. So, Michael, I'm going to come to you because, as I was saying, Benedetto was launching a DeFi platform. You're doing something very, very different. Physical assets on chain. What made you want to do this in 2019?
Yeah, thanks, Min. So morning, everyone. Thanks very much for having me. So certainly quite a different point of view for DeFi, though DeFi is such a crucial part of utilization for RWAs. For anyone who's a gold bug or a gold holder, the idea of gold used as currency is fairly fundamental in the belief in the idea of gold as a concept. And a lot of people aren't aware, but traditionally most money, so most banknotes or coins were promissory notes for gold. So, we had the gold standard pretty much globally, and we shifted away from this model. And a lot of the thinking was because, you wanted to not be restricted to just gold. And the idea of returning that kind of gold standard was something that anyone in the space really has an affinity for. And blockchain was kind of the first instance where, hang on, we could actually build something interesting that would allow gold to be used at the kind of velocity we see digital fiat being used at. So that was the first sort of consideration of, okay, this is a genuine opportunity to maybe apply technology to an age-old industry that'll give it the utility and the functionality that's been so long desired. We actually originally looked at building on Ethereum and on EVM. And one of the really core issues with something like gold is, the gold actually exists, it actually is being stored, there's a real cost to holding physical material. And if you had things like gold getting stuck in wallets because there was too little value to process transaction fees, so you end up with crumbs stored globally, you could end up with huge amounts of gold that are actually just stuck out there in wallets that can't be utilized, that all of a sudden you're paying storage and insurance costs on forever. So initially, the idea was let's use blockchain, and then the second piece was, well, hang on, this is actually going to be quite difficult to execute in a way that long-term is functional, like the way we want. And then Silvio Micali actually came to Australia, did his road tour across Oz, selling the dream of Algorand and solving the trilemma, and that really sort of resonated. That concept of the Algorand technology was, okay, this is the game changer, this is that next step in evolution of the technology that would allow us to deliver deliver something that could be used globally, could be fully accessible, and sort of live up to the dream of gold as a currency again.
Yeah. Well, you also have spent decades in this space. Like, this is a space that you're very familiar with, and then you're bringing something that's so traditional, decades-old industry into a new space. What was the biggest surprise for you?
I think potentially the friction in the industry. I think for me, being someone who's been very keen on technology, always been an early adopter to technology, it seemed like a no-brainer. And as much as we had, issues or friction within the blockchain space, I could see that the markers of this is early internet, we are going to solve these problems, the fundamentals and characteristics of blockchain are a solution to these issues. So I was quite surprised how much of the industry didn't understand that vision or thought it was too dangerous or risky. And look, in reality, most of these companies are 100 plus years old. So they also are very risk adverse, they're very cautious, they're very conscious of making decisions that aren't quick. So that was sort of probably maybe shouldn't have been as surprising, but for me, the idea of living up to gold's final form of being a currency again seemed like such a strong narrative. But it's taken time, but we've slowly tiptoed the industry closer and closer to the finish line.
Yeah, it feels like it still feels a little bit like that right now. We're still just trying to push everybody and take everybody along with us.
But look, I think a really good example is, 5 years ago when you went and talked out to government or industry, the questions were very shallow about blockchain. And I think that was a real indicator of lack of desire to want to understand the technology better. Whereas you go now and you talk to any of these institutions, they clearly have a better understanding. They're doing their own research, they're digging into the technology. And that's amazing to see because it means we are progressing and we are seeing the industry go, no, we need to take this seriously. We are going to miss out on an incredible opportunity if we aren't a part of this next change in technology, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I love that. So John, let me come to you. I know you guys, Transaction Labs, launched a little bit later, but you and Patrick, you guys have been tinkering in this space from day one. So tell us, how did it all come together? Oh, can you guys hear John?
Hello.
Perfect.
Hello. Okay. I'll talk here. So, yeah, Patrick and I have been in the ecosystem for a long time, since 2021. Patrick maybe later than me. But we're kind of degens, I guess, at heart. We like to build maybe consumer-facing applications, not necessarily like DeFi or anything like that. But things that people use daily. So NF Domains was our first product that we launched. And we did that. So we did that in 2022, June of 2022, we launched on mainnet. And we all met working on another project. And just if anybody here is interested in working on Algorand, just join a project. It might not be the one for you, but you'll learn a lot. And then you'll meet a lot of people. So that would be some.
Yeah, so speaking of learning, I want to hear, what was the biggest lesson that you've learned in launching NFT since starting it?
So this kind of feeds back to what I just said almost. Build a very strong team.
Yeah.
And make a lot of really good connections. And that goes like not just investors, but just make friends. Like friends go a long way, especially for a product like NF Domains. Like, we beat our competitors strictly because we had more friends. Like we knew everybody in the ecosystem. So when you need an integration or something, it's just as easy as hitting up a friend compared to something where, they want to charge you for the integration. It's, so yeah, make good friends, build a strong team, and, trust your friends and your team to help you.
Yeah, it's all in the community. It's all in the community. Heed, I want to see if that resonated with you, because you built one of the most used apps in our ecosystem, but the path hasn't always been so straightforward. What's one thing that you would do differently if you could do it again?
Yeah, as a CTO, my role was to use the resources effectively. But it's quite hard to resist the excitement when you are in a bull market. So it's really easy to grow It's really easy to say, okay, we are going to do this, we are going to do that. But the more the team grows, the harder things become. We were a great team when we were small, but as we got big, I started to see the problems that happened. And then we had to downsize. So it's not easy in the blockchain market to create an effective team and also to create meaningful products and also be with the competition. So the bull market is going to come. So for that day, I want to tell everybody, stay calm, stay cool, continue what you're doing best, and yeah, be excited, but not nervous.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think starting any company, the hardest thing is to know when to scale, the pace of growth, right?
Yes.
Because it could be detrimental to you if you grow too quickly, but it's also equally detrimental if you don't grow fast enough to then beat up the competition. It's a very hard line to navigate. So I totally agree. Okay, I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about the future a little bit. So maybe I'll start with you, Michael, because real-world asset is a hot topic right now. And you did this in 2019. You started this in 2019. So I want to get your point of view on what do you think needs to happen for real-world asset tokenization to really take place, to really take on?
Yeah, well, I think, can you guys hear me? That's
yeah.
Good. I think the key, and look, it varies a little bit depending on the real world asset we're talking about, but if we sort of look at gold and silver as a great example initially, access and utility. Access and utility are the two valuable pieces of the puzzle. Because in reality, the key question is why would you digitize? What is the value of blockchain over a database digital system of traditional digital gold ownership? And access and utility are the two key pieces. Now, why does blockchain help achieve this? Two things, interoperability, which is I know a word we talk about a lot, but the ability to have a standardization of data rails, and in reality, every asset on chain is just data packaged, right? So that interoperability, which would allow an asset to instantly be global, if you have a standardized system of interchange of data that's permissionless and doesn't require third parties to sit in between, you have the ability for global access to the asset and globalization of an asset the moment it comes on chain. So then the next piece is proof of ownership and proof of authority. Now, once it's tokenized, that's actually extremely easy to do. It's very, very simple to know who owns it and to know they have authority over the asset. So getting utility from those assets becomes very simple because if you want to take a loan on folks' finance, if you want to use Pera to do a trade, all of these things become very, very easy to do. So they're really kind of the two key pieces. Now, what does utility look like and what's valuable for something like gold? Getting a loan against gold traditionally is very difficult. But really, we sort of position gold as a quality alternative to fiat. So if you are going to do anything within fiat, gold is stable enough, it's liquid enough, it's a large enough asset that in theory you could do the same kind of transactions with gold, with the idea that sitting in gold as a position is maybe more interesting to you than sitting in fiat. So whether you're going to take out an option, whether you're going to yield farm, whether you're going to be an LP, whatever you're actually going to do, doing that in gold is more interesting than doing that in US dollars. And then access, on the other side with access, by becoming fungible, the ability for someone in Latin America, in India, in Asia to buy $1 worth of gold, so to start actually have a savings account in gold versus fiat is also really interesting with that idea that rather than sitting in fiat, sitting in something like gold or silver is a quality alternative for anyone who believes so instead of fiat. And then that access level in fractions. And then with Algorand, to be able to buy $1 worth of gold at the cost of a fraction of a cent almost instantly is really fascinating. And access doesn't come with a lot of blockchain technology out there. There's several chains where you exclude 99% of the planet just because the transaction fees don't make it accessible. And that's where Algorand is beautiful. It's accessible to everyone in the world. Everyone can afford an Algorand transaction fee. So if you want to own 10 cents worth of gold and start actually accumulating your wealth in gold instead of maybe US dollars, Algorand's gold, great combination of technology and an asset class.
Yeah, and when you talk about access and utility, I I hear you on the access piece. On the utility piece, this is, Benedetto, where I sort of think about you, because I think, you talked about this partnership that Meld Gold just has on Folks with the Lend Borrow platform, and I think you've done a great job, Benedetto, in terms of like working with, collaborating with other projects in the ecosystem to create and build utility. Tell us why that's important to you. Why is that core to Folks?
I think it was, can you hear me? Yeah, I think it was one of probably the weakness of AlgoFi that we spoiled, and we were like, okay, let's do it. But it was also kind of in our soul, because like we love to collaborate. Oh my God, how many calls I've done with Michael? I don't know. Like we are friends now after so many calls. Like we never met each other in a bar, but it's like we did.
Tonight.
Yeah,
you can go to the bar
tonight is gonna be. Yeah,
you have a party.
But there is the fiesta tonight, organized all together. So anyway, I think it's very important, and I think Algorand is special for that. I think Algorand community, from users, holders, builders, we are huge believer in the tech, and we have been here for the tech. And not for the Lambos, I will say. Maybe also for the Lambos, okay, but we haven't got there probably. But still, we loved the tech and we love the tech. So this brought up to have different bonding compared to other chains where it's full of mercenaries. And I think this was always in our mindset when thinking on how to collaborate. I remember when we launched Gialgo, our idea was like, everyone knows Ibu. Ibu is head of partnership at Folks, and said, Ibu, Gialgo has to be everywhere. And he started to get in touch with everyone to integrate Gialgo, and Gialgo went to be, instead of Algo payment, like in NFT marketplace, games, social, everywhere. DeFi, of course, was easier integration. But also in our mindset is also like sharing. It's not Folks, okay, it's the largest DeFi app, but we are there because of everyone. We are not there because we did a great work ourselves, but because we did all together.
Yeah.
And like even when we considered like the referral program for Gialgo, we thought, okay, we need to share the revenue that we make from governance with everyone else, and that was a big boost towards it. Like again, like it is that type of mindset that when you think like an individual, you're not going to succeed. But when you think like a group and team up together, it's very, very different. And I mean, also what we did with Meld, I think it was remarkable because it was the first time that a lending protocol was collateralizing a tokenized metal. And first of all, like the news spreaded by itself. We didn't need to do any paid amplification, and it was great already to see that, because organic growth on an ads, it means that actually people are interested in it. And the most beautiful part is see the user comments when they will tell you, I always invested in commodities on whatever, Revolut or any fintech app, but I couldn't take a loan out of it. I couldn't do it so easily. And that's the beauty of DeFi, and that's the beauty of interoperability. And I really respect what the Meld team has done, because there are a lot of projects which tokenize real world assets, but they are not able to bring it in the permissionless market. But that's where you see the real power of interoperability between a project like Folks and RWA tokenizing. It's fantastic, and it lets you understand where we will get, where we will be able to go if more of those things we do together.
I mean, I just love that, though. I love that you think about growing the ecosystem by growing and partnering with others in the ecosystem, and how do you expand the offering, to the users. And I think that is a critical part of how we as an ecosystem can grow. But John, I know you've been thinking a lot of hard questions as well about governance and what does it take for us to grow as an ecosystem. What do you think? What do you think we need? Oh.
Hello. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been pushing really hard for like a retroactive public goods funding kind of mechanism. I think like funding public goods at scale is really, really important in a decentralized environment. Like, you don't necessarily have VCs who care or, anything about a product that's not going to make profit. So we need some way to fund those public goods from the protocol itself. And then we've been trying to do things like release open source tools, protocols, etc., that just generally help Algorand. And we see it as if we can get more people to be interested in Algorand, then that's more .algos sold. So we use NF domains as a way to capture revenue, but then we're really interested in building like whatever it takes to get Algorand, huge, mass adopted. So that's how we view it. Yeah, and that's how XGov kind of plays into that is, not all the things we want to build have like a profit motive, but they might be extremely helpful for developers or users or whatever. So those things still need to be funded. And that's why I just have been talking so much about governance, and shout out Adri and Michele, and they probably hate me so much, but I know you love me. I love you guys too. Yeah.
We appreciate all that.
I've been told a lot today how much I'm appreciated, which feels like really, really good. So thank you guys, and I appreciate you guys too. And like, governance is not an easy thing, so we're working through it.
But I think it's all the hard thinking that we have to do, like stuff that you're thinking about, and also just that the mentality of the opportunity for what I'm building depends on the overall opportunity. How do we grow this bigger pie? That is a mindset that I think is going to make us succeed. I think that I love that. Benedetto, you think about how do we partner and bring more utility. You think about how do we grow the whole ecosystem. And here you are thinking about how do we get more adoption for these tokenization assets. So you and I have talked about product prioritization. What's important for us is really to be able to support the builders in our ecosystem. Having heard everybody talk about, what's important to them, how does that change Para's role?
Yes. In the beginning, do you hear me? Yes. In the beginning, Para was just a technology preview application. So it was the showcase for Algorand and its capabilities. Then we became a fully featured blockchain wallet. And now we see ourselves as the enabler. We have two responsibilities: grow the number of users who are using Algorand, and also help our ecosystem grow. And that's why we are investing in our APIs, we are investing on our Discover section. So we are trying to grow the ecosystem, basically.
I love that. I love that. All right, so as we come to a close to this panel, I wanted to go down the line and ask you, what are you most excited about for H2 of this year? There's so much, so pick one only. Michael, let's start with you.
Look, a good question. I think, and whether it's in the time period you think, but abstraction of the blockchain, it feels closer than ever. I think a majority of the world's users aren't going to even know they're using blockchain technology. It's just literally going to be leveraging the value of blockchain to find value from the things they do every day. So it feels definitely like we're one step closer, and everyone here is a part of that puzzle to getting there. So it's great to see us moving towards that final destination.
Yeah, and I think you're going to play your part in pushing us forward. So I'd love to see that. Yeah, very cool. John, how about you?
I'm very excited for ready pooling. So if any of you want to run a validator, it's completely open and free to do. Anybody can operate a node, run a validator, and then you can have algo staked to your pool, delegated to you, and you can take a commission from that. So this is a way to expand the number of people that are participating in consensus, and it's a way to deconcentrate the stake from a few potential pools to potentially hundreds or thousands of pools. And this is what we want for a healthy, strong network. So consensus incentives, Q3, Q4, look out for ready pooling. Please participate.
Yes, absolutely. Yeet, how about you?
I'm excited for many things. The asset in box is a big thing. The HD wallets, it's a very, very big change for us. But most importantly, I'm excited because I will be able to use my credit card, my Pera wallet, to buy some real stuff. So the debit card, yeah, to me that will be a big change because it's fully on chain, and we partnered with Immersive, who is a principal partner of MasterCard. So it's a direct communication with MasterCard actually, and it's only possible on Algorand. Without Algorand, in any other blockchain, that implementation wouldn't work. It's a transparent, fully on-chain implementation. So technically, I'm excited. And also as a user, I am excited as well.
And when do you expect to come for that to launch?
Well, it's difficult to give dates, but in a couple of months, it will be ready. We are actively working on it right now, but it's a long process. And also, there are the App Store approval challenges, so I don't want to give a date.
Maybe we can give users here beta access for when it's ready.
Yes, for beta access in 45 days, we will have something.
It's very exciting. Awesome. Benedetto, how about you? What are you most excited about?
I am excited to use my debit card as well.
What are you?
We all hope that you're not going to off-ramp Algo. USDC, it's okay, okay?
Yeah.
Jokes aside. I think in general, AlgoFam is very excited about the consensus incentivization. And of course, folks wouldn't miss to be the primary liquid staking provider. And I think everyone knows how much we care about the security of the network, because we were using our own DeFi rewards in order to incentivize with Galgo participation to run nodes. So we are happy to announce that even before that the actual incentivization is going to happen, Xalgo, which was our cross-chain liquid governance, it's going to transform into the Algorand liquid staking main option, and it's going to come pretty soon. We are targeting this summer, so soon the AlgoFam will be able to participate in DeFi and be in consensus and stay liquid with Xalgo.
That's awesome. Woohoo! Very, very, very exciting. Well, thank you so much. I really had a great time talking with all of you. I have so much respect for everything that you guys have done over the past 5 years. It is incredible, and I'm very excited to continue to support and to work with you as we grow this ecosystem together. There's so much exciting stuff happening. This is going to be a great year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, another round of applause, please, for our Algorand OGs. OGs. Okay, Christine, come on up. Okay, let's get some. You guys stay up. Can we clear some chairs? Okay, so Christine has some housekeeping that is going to be very important that you need to listen to. While that is happening, could I please have all Algorand Foundation employees please come up on stage? All of you, come on. Michele, Shane, up on stage. Fred. Everybody, if you work for the Algorand Foundation, please come up on stage with the OGs. You're staying up here. You're part of us.
Stacy, can you give? Okay.
Okay.
And can I get? Okay, great. So quick, we are about 2 seconds in front of lunch. So couple quick housekeeping items. Lunch is about an hour and a half. During that time, you've got some options as well as eating. Visit the booths. Visit the NFT gallery. We've got a lunch and learn starting at 12:30 in the back. How to wow VCs and accelerators. You can pop in there.